Yeah.
Too, and we have Jesse joined. How are you, Jesse? Jesse is with us in spirit.
All right. Well, good. I guess we've got a couple guests here. Jesse and Michael. I'm not sure if you guys want to introduce yourselves, but we can get to that later. But I'll just do a quick intro for myself. I'm J.D. Hoovener, owner here at Bold Patents Law Firm, and you guys may or may not know me from the website, writing the books. But it's my honor to have as our guest today, TALLsmall Productions. We've got Rebecca and Keith Klein. They're here to present and help you guys learn about how to pitch, how to present. I know it all too well. The inventor tends to be, can be, a bit more reserved, not always one to be one talking about or pitching or presenting. And there's always room for improvement. In fact, I had a session with them, and I'm always looking to improve. They pointed out a lot of different things that I do in my speech and the way I communicate that need improving. So it's again a pleasure to have them on. So I'll give them the floor here as we get started, and I'll try to remain a participant and not talk too much.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Hi. I appreciate a lot you guys coming out for today. I have to go to work at 2:00, so I told them that I would start this meeting for a little bit to see what you guys had to offer. I understand that what you're showing today is tactics on how to pitch to a buyer.
Absolutely.
My goal right now is to come up with the most marketable ways to go about the product that I have. So when I give it to a potential buyer, they have something, they have something of worth. They have something to go off of.
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm working on right now. As of now, that's pretty much where I'm at. So it's cool that I got to get in contact with you today. I'm going to I'll give you a shout out because I have to get going for today. So I'm not going to be able to attend most of the meeting.
We appreciate you showing up now.
Thank you for being here because that's a bold step to take out and decide that you're ready to go out there and pitch. And that's the hardest decision you will make. The rest is easy.
Yeah, well, I'm ready for it. I just it's mainly getting everything, it's mainly finding what would be the best area to go about, what would be the best way to just pinpoint the actual ways to give it to whoever we're selling it to. But yeah, I'll get in touch with you, JD Hoovener. I'll get in touch with you.
All right, sounds good. I'll introduce you to these two as you need additional resources. If you want to follow with them directly, they maybe want to do that one-on-one.
Absolutely.
All right. I'll schedule a time to go talk to you guys. I can't hear too well because I'm outside of the Starbucks.
All right.
No problem, man. No problem. Thank you, Jesse.
Get a coffee for us.
That's right.
Yeah, appreciate it so much. Have a good day, guys.
You too. Thanks for being here.
You too.
And to give Michael a sense, because we haven't done that for Michael yet, and Jesse, while you're still here, you might be wondering who's the tall here.
That's right.
It's not me.
This is what happens when you don't have booster seats for Rebecca. Make her look tall or equal.
That's been the fun of COVID.
And then Michael can't see that, but he can hear that I am 6'9", and no, I did not play basketball. I am a failure to this day, according to many people who ask. But Rebecca tears me up on our court.
I'm 5'2", have zero athletic ability, but what I do have is I know where Keith's blind spots are, and that's all you need to win the game. As in many things in life, right? But enough about us. One of the most common pitch pitfalls that people out there make, and this is the easiest, fastest part of your pitch to work on, is to avoid cluttering up your sentences with
all those nasty filler words, the like, so, or a few of the more mature we call varsity words.
Such as, can I be honest with you for a moment? The moment you tell an investor, I'm going to now be honest with you, they're going to think everything else that you've said is one big lie.
or you go to answer a question, you say, I was going to say, which really means I was going to say possibly something that was wrong, and I'm backing myself up now. Or I was just thinking, and we have Christopher Hunt coming on board here, saying, I was just thinking. First of all, the word just. I'm just this, I was just hoping, I was just wondering, I was just thinking. Just is a doormat word, and thinking is the same thing as breathing. Unless you're brain dead, you're doing it.
And if you have to tell people that you are thinking, then it's clear that you're not confident about your thought. Now, we could sit here and list off all these words, fire them off, and you probably remember none of them, which is why we are going to have a filler word, non-religious exorcism with you before we go into the ingredients of a pitch.
And it looks like we have two contestants that could play. That would be Michael, and welcome to our game show, Christopher Hunt Sr.
Christopher, you have a name for pitching.
That's right, because you
The
are on a
Hunt.
hunt, aren't you, Christopher?
Yes, I don't know. Let me see.
We would love to see
We're
you.
hunting for your image right now.
Oh. I'm trying to figure out your current image. Oh, it looks like a blowtorch on
You
your
might be lighting
on your
part of
face.
your face.
Actually,
Well, go ahead.
I have a bunch of patents that we're transforming a material so that we're replacing wood. Every 2,400 square foot house will help convert an existing 30 tons of climate change CO2 into oxygen. We are actually net negative carbon footprints.
Wow. Well, Christopher, that's way over our heads. All we want to do is see a picture.
Yes, or video.
Well, that's me. That's me.
You don't move? That's amazing. How do you get
And you
some-
never catch on fire. Huh.
No,
Well, that's what
I've
makes it
actually,
a
I
game.
was one time giving a pitch to investors, a room of about 20 people, and I put that up and talked to them for over a minute with only 1 inch when our walls are 8 inches. And at the end of the pitch, having done everything, it was longer than a minute, but I held it up there for probably 3 to 5 minutes. And then I took it down. That was a 10-minute pitch time. And the first comment was, Christopher, that was the most amazing pitch, but you can't effing put that block up there because we were so distracted, amazed by it that we didn't listen to a word you said.
Well, Christopher, since you have a lot to say, you are going to be our first contestant here on the or so game.
And here's how it's going to go down. We are going to give you a word, Christopher, and your job is to talk to us about that word. But if you should say an or so,
Or any mature filler word, actually, I would say blah, blah, blah. Rebecca and I are going to bang on our table.
and I have a feeling JD can let out some anger too on his table. And Michael, if you're able to make some noise without people looking at you.
Okay.
Thank
All right. Wow. This is great. Just don't take, Michael, your hands off the steering wheel when you do that, please. You do not want to be liable for any danger or accident. But here's how it's going to go down. Rebecca's going to give you a word to start out with. You can talk about the word, make it up, make a story up, lie about it.
We
Doesn't
don't really
matter.
care. But
But if any of those filler words come, we are going to on the tip. Are you ready, Christopher, to play?
Yeah, this is like ready in season, out of season. Let's go.
let's go.
Let's-
Well, had you said yes or no, we'd still play it.
As they say in the South, that dog can hunt.
Oh yeah.
Well, we don't know that yet. Let me finish.
That's right.
Christopher, talk to us about windows.
Windows.
There are so many windows in life. We talk about windows of age, windows of life cycles, windows of opportunity, windows in business, and even the windows of heaven and things like that. What is exciting is you can recognize a window when the doors are shut. That's what's most important about life. If you want to be successful, you have to be determined. You can't fail like Elon. He knew what he had was right, but even after 3 rocket failures, he bet it all because it was too important and he was solving problems. That versus the angry bird with no hands on a picture showing stubbornly poking holes in the door and window and wall, unable to open the door because he had no hands. The difference is pivoting and finding that window when the door is shut.
Whoa,
Wow.
Christopher, man, that was amazing, man. I mean, not only the words, but the visuals that you created with the words.
And that's the
Excellent job.
key to this game
Mhm.
and to a successful pitch is to tell a story. Use words that help people see what you're talking about. Because once you get that buy-in, it makes them more curious and they want to hear more instead of wondering when is he going to.
I'm
wrap
still
up.
curious to see Christopher in real video time.
Christopher's building intrigue right
He is.
now. One of the ingredients of a good pitch.
Whoa,
Whoa,
something's changing.
he might be
He is
a
building.
Oh, there we
intrigue.
go.
Oh my gosh, Christopher! And what a killer
Oh,
shirt!
and it's on mute though. You're on mute.
Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute, Christopher.
Hi, JD. Good to see you personally.
Yeah,
I
you
thought
too.
I was going to be sipping a protein coffee drink that I make and just
You can
listen.
still do that.
You can sip.
I got coffee,
You
man.
can sip
It's
too.
good. It's all good. We all have drinks. You can sip on it. It's not formal, man. It's not formal.
No, I like this. It's like a real kitchen get together.
We really are. We're broke into
Which
our
is-
neighbors. They have a much better kitchen than we do.
This is on purpose. Every day we figure out whose kitchen we want to steal, and here we are.
All right, Michael, you want to try it, Michael? I know you're driving, but this is a verbal game.
You can drive and play. Or not.
I think I'm driving just yet, but I will attempt it when I get to the truck and start driving, go in the warehouse.
Oh, you're still in the
Get everything
warehouse?
Ready for it. Yeah, I'm basically loading up some toilets and stuff. So.
Well, you don't have to do it now then. We'll try to come back when you're driving. We don't want to interrupt you loading. That could be a pain in the neck. So, don't want to cause that. Go ahead and load.
Please load.
I think we should have Rebecca play.
Let's have JD play.
Yeah, my first one didn't go as well as yours, Christopher. Let's just
JD
see.
might never call us back again if we do this. This is not a good.
No, this is fine. I'm happy to be embarrassed. This is good.
All right.
JD,
Yeah.
your word is
Toilets.
Oh, toilets. We have two in our home. One the children go to, and I do as well sometimes. But there's the more adult one that's in our room, in the master room. Since we have three little kids, they really dominate all of them and can monopolize too. There's 5 people, 2 toilets. You get the picture. And I find myself oftentimes being the one responsible for reloading all the paper, the toilet paper. And where we have our toilet paper, our toilets, the holder is too small for the Costco rolls. And so I have to squeeze them, literally squeeze the roll so that it'll fit into the
I like
holder.
the visual.
Yeah.
And,
That was awesome.
I'm just saying, you have to pin the outer diameter, the outer circumference part. You have to really pinch down.
I can
Yeah.
feel that.
I relate to you. I have to
Yeah.
squeeze one end of the toilet paper roll to get on the thing, but not both.
I mean, Christopher, you do any of that? No, he's muted right now.
Yes, I did.
You did get to squeeze your toilet paper roll too?
Oh no, I said to begin with.
You know, here's an invention right here for JT, a toilet
Yes.
paper squeezer
A
machine.
squeezer. Yeah. It's because the issue is, well, if I just put in some different toilet paper holders, then it would you'd be able to it'd be wider. But if you make it too wide, then that little spring-loaded thing would be too small. You know what I mean? So it wouldn't
Oh,
fit.
yeah, that would work. No,
Yeah.
I remember that growing up. You had the old the ceramic ones built in with that spring. You had to do that just right, or else
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
there's no other choice.
No.
You got the ceramic.
And JD, what you demoed there, beyond toilet paper and beyond picturing that squeeze, was the fact that you kept our attention because you were showing your hands. And when you are giving a pitch, you're doing it on Zoom, you want to make sure that you sit back far enough for people to see some movement, for them to see your hands, because that reins in people's attention.
He said, well, I have to take the toilet paper and squeeze it. When you were like, squeeze it, Everybody got into it. And the second thing is, for the pitch, you told a story. This is very important for pitches. Tell an everyday story that an everyday person has to deal with. And I believe basically every human being, not every, but majority of people use toilet paper,
I'd be a
right?
little worried if they just.
Thinking of people in the Amazon might not have toilet paper, so I had to restate that. But the fact is, you told a story that average folks can understand. They get it, they've been there, they know what to do. And that is part of the pitch, because you want people to understand it. The last thing you want people to do is be like, what are you talking about? What is that thing you're trying to develop? What do you want funding for?
And that's a big pitfall that we've seen a lot of inventors do, especially ones in the science arena, because they won a few $1 million grants from, say, NIH here in the DC area. And then they go out to everyday people and try to describe what they do to angel investors. And most people can't recognize a single word that they're saying. You want to make sure that your pitches speak to people at a 5th grade level or lower. But there are.
Why did you look at me when you said that? 5th grade level or lower? Did everybody notice how you did that?
Trying to
Or
interpret.
lower? All right.
Because you usually say 4th grade.
Oh, I see.
I'm not talking about
Okay.
you. We can take our own little dirty laundry somewhere later and squeeze that.
That's right. We said.
We're gonna share with you the top 3 ingredients of a solid pitch. And as we do each one, if you're not driving somewhere, because we don't want Michael to get into an accident, write down a couple keywords that go with each of these ingredients, and then you will get to pitch for us. We'll have
This is the surefire way to pitch. This we have done for teams of inventors, teams of new businesses, upstarts, for schools, university, contests, you name it. And we have boiled it down into 3 bullets. The first one is grab attention. We talked about this, but grab attention with a story that answers
why the investor should care. A lot of times, inventors are excited about what they've created, and we'll talk about what's in it for them or why they wanted to create it. But none of that matters. It's about why other people need your item or service.
because naturally we're all narcissists in many ways. We all know this.
I'll be careful not to look at you for this part.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But the fact is, we're all narcissists, and we think, man, this is the greatest thing. People should listen to us. But imagine somebody saying, basically, in a good New Jersey, New York accent, why should I care? Why do I care about this, right? That's the fact. They're thinking, why am I going to take time to listen to you? There's a million people that want to talk to me. Why do I want to listen to you? You have to do something to grab their attention. And it could be as simple as noticing something they're wearing. If you're on a Zoom call, noticing a picture or a book in the background, something that builds a relationship. Because no one really listens to anybody until they have a relationship, until they feel something. Like when Christopher came on and he had that plaid shirt, I've looked at that plaid shirt before. I love that shirt because I'm also style. So right away, I had this connection with Christopher.
Me too. I remembered that plaid shirt in college. People had a similar one with all the different.
So it just brought it all back to me, and now I have a relationship. I got it. But it's because you connected. And now I'm like, oh, I want to, not that I didn't want to listen to you before, Chris, but now I'm even more intrigued.
Which that builds the case against using a virtual background. Use what's really behind you, because we don't simply throw random things on our walls like JD has here. There are things that are boldly there because JD cares.
Yeah, little
Yes.
ukulele. Ooh, needs a little tune.
I love that. Can you do, remember there was a song in the 70s, 60s, Tiptoe Through the Tulips?
I'll play if you sing, okay?
My mom used to play that for a talent show one time, and she had the small little guitar. It was Tiny Tim.
Oh, that's right.
You have to YouTube it sometime. Tiny Tim singing Tiptoe in just little guitars. But
Another reason why all is better.
see, but then once again, JD pulled out this thing. I had a memory because I can remember it. I built a relationship. Into stories and objects, people find a relationship.
And it could be anything. But if you have simply a blank wall behind you, people aren't going to connect. And one time, we were coaching a woman who had about 30 people reporting to her. And she felt as though she wasn't connecting with any of them, We asked to see her office. We went in, nothing on the walls.
Just blank, like a prison cell. And she said that she never put anything up on her walls because when she did, she usually got moved on or fired.
And that should have been another clue. But the moral is, have something about your personality. It becomes an extension of body language. And Michael has a question. Or not.
Or JD can read the question because we can't read the text.
Actually, Christopher does.
Ah.
Christopher has a
Whoops,
question.
my mistake. There we go.
You're right.
Okay. Oh, I
Christopher
see
has a
his little
question.
yellow hands.
Got it. Christopher.
I like what you're saying, and I think that that breaks through a lot and personalizes the experience, and people talk about that. And I think this is a very worthwhile, keen insight, and I'm glad I'm watching this. Thank you.
Thank you.
The question I want to ask, though, is this. Since investors, above all, really emphasize, here, let me do this. There we go. Since investors prioritize the relationship with who is the entrepreneur, who is the founder team, above all else, should you open with, hey, this is why you should invest, then say, and about them personally, or should you start the small talk first, connecting with them, and then say, and this is why you should invest?
Your second one. Think about a Netflix movie. When you're looking at which movie to watch, and you get just a couple sentences, or maybe you watch a trailer. If they gave away too much, you would never watch. This way of introducing your pitch creates intrigue, and then you'll tuck that in there in the next section.
And that small talk is really the large talk because that's what sells it. Because they know you're there to sell. They know you're there to ask for money. But that's not, as human beings, the thing we want to think about right away, right? We want to think about, it's like giving gifts at the holidays. You want to say, well, guess what? If I gave you a gift and said, yeah, I spent $37.25, you probably don't want to know that. It kind of ruins the spirit of the mood, doesn't it? If I start telling you how much it is. So you want to start out with, why should I care? Why should you even listen to me?
You also want to make them want it, similar to when a band comes out to perform on stage. They don't say, we're now going to play these 3 songs. Instead, they come out, there's that silence, it builds up the anticipation. And the investors, once you get them caring, then they're going to want to have that ask. They're going to be primed for it.
You almost want to get to a point where they are waiting for you to tell them what you want. Where you can tell they're like, I need you to tell me what you want because I want to help you. Not you tell them and then they go, oh, let me think about that. But they would say, it would be wonderful if they said, what do you need? And I'm so excited about this. I want to fund it. Right? Does that happen all the time? Obviously not. But you want to try to create that emotional response.
Number 1, you want to grab their attention with that story. Then number 2 is to win the hearts and minds of your audience. And this is where you strut your credibility.
Mm-hmm. What makes you unique? There's millions of people with millions of ideas. What makes you unique? And the most important thing, what do you solve? What do you fix? Are you just another product? Or do you fix something that's urgently needed, like a paper towel or a toilet paper squeezer machine, right?
Why do people need this? Why should they care about this? And why are you the one that they should turn to? This is also where you show you've done your homework. You want to answer one of the questions you have a feeling they'll ask.
Because you want to show that your solution works. Because, for example, and we have another person entering, Bob, but for example, let's talk about the pet rock back in the 70s. There have been rocks for 250 million years. No one thought of selling them until a personality came along and sold to somebody and said, look, I can turn this into a profit. Here's how it's going to work. And they believed in the personality of the person because anybody could take a rock and put a little face on it. Whether they didn't do that, they just put it in a box. but it's in the marketing and the personality that was sold to the investor.
And sometimes the best pitches are for the most simple items. We were coaching a whole bunch of startups a few weeks ago, and one of the young women who won $20,000, her idea was to create a headscarf attached to a plastic headband so that you wouldn't have to tie it perfectly every time. It was meant for cancer patients or women who needed more of a modest head covering. That way she had a couple of distinct markets. What she was able to show investors that made them buy in was she figured out how to spend only $1.53 on each piece of material and had a 93% profit margin.
Now, they were made out of tissue paper, but I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. That's how she kept the price went up. But they were beautiful things. And she won the money because she convinced them that not only does the product have a great markup price, she's going to make money, but second, she knows her audience. She knows the Orthodox, Muslim women, Amish women. I mean, anybody that needs, she knew the audiences and she knew who she's going after.
And she had backup plans because oftentimes if you're asking for a lot of money and you only have one tiny audience in mind, people aren't going to invest because it's too risky. You want to show you've done your homework and that you have an audience.
Real quick, we'll say a shout out to Bob. Can you read the last name?
I can, but Bob looks exactly like mine.
Thank you.
Cantrell.
Bob Cantrell is my name. I just joined you. I'm sorry I'm a little late. I had something going on.
Don't ever be sorry.
I want to make sure you were recognized.
Well,
Properly.
I screwed that up. I don't know where I lost it. I've got a launch meeting again.
That's okay.
Well,
There, I'm back.
Good to hear your voice.
You have a good, strong voice, which will be great when you're doing your pitch. And we'll catch you up.
Who is everyone here?
I'm Keith, and this
Rebecca.
is Rebecca, and we have Michael
And JD who invited you.
and Christopher Huntsey.
There's Chris.
Hi. I can't seem to turn on my video. I don't know why. I'll have to figure it out later. It won't
Okay.
go on.
It's all
But
good. We're glad to have you.
so I think JD Hoover, you're with Bold. The rest of them are all inventors.
Inventors,
Yes.
entrepreneurs, yep. We invited our clients first and foremost, and then we also extended the invite out to our larger community of inventors that aren't yet clients.
Okay,
All
well, that's
right,
great.
We're going to get to step 3 on the pitch.
And let's catch Bob up to steps 1 and 2. Christopher, what's step 1?
Let's see,
Step 1 is to not use filler words. Thank you.
Good job, Christopher. Good.
I passed. I didn't get any drum rolls on mine, but Bob, it was basically how to give a presentation without any of the filler words that can derail and cause distraction, but rather stay focused and just clear.
You're
So
hired.
you're a public speaker type person, a trainer.
We are.
We are.
They are.
Yeah.
Oh, they are. Tall,
But all
small.
of you are on the way to doing that because you have to be an amazing public speaker to get the startup money.
And Christopher did the intro perfectly, and then we moved into real quick. Part of the pitch number 1 is to grab attention. Start with a story that investors will care about. And number 2 is winning your audience. What makes you unique, and what solution does your product offer? And we're moving to number 3 for everyone.
And this is the big one. And this is one where a lot of people mess this up. They'll get out there with that story. They'll win the hearts and minds of their audience. And then for the ask, it falls flat because they say, I'd like some money. You can't have a general amount of money. This is where you have to be precise with the amount of money you're asking for and what you're going to do with it.
And people want to invest, and we found this over and over again, in the building, the construction, the development of the product. They're not as excited if you say, well, I'd like $20,000 to create a website. Okay. You haven't even sold the product, but you want to do this fancy website.
Or a logo. Or I want someone to write all my social media. We've been in business for 9 years and do all of those things ourselves. Investors want to see people who are scrappy, who have grit, who are going to use that money for something that's going to move their product forward or their service forward, not for the bells and whistles.
For example, we had a winner last year that did a type of fruit smoothie, unique fruit, and all this stuff. But they didn't say, hey, we need marketing money for the website. They needed a new industrial blender, like a big time one, and a huge refrigerator. Like those are tangible objects. Investors want to invest in those type of things. We're not saying don't ever use it for a website, but don't lead with that. Find something more tangible to lead with.
We've also seen people have success when they show that that money will be used to scale up their business enough to get into more stores, because investors will often ask, well, how are you going to create this many more widgets if it's simply you?
And we have a question from Christopher Hunt.
JD, can you please share that, or Christopher?
Yep, we got a question. This is from our live audience. How do you feel about a design thinking approach to helping create a pitch?
Well, that one I would need a little clarity because I don't speak in those in that terminology. But the design, I'm assuming they need the design, like how it came to be, or how you built it. I'm assuming
Or following a particular brainstorming method. What Keith and I do is keep it incredibly simple. Make 3 bullet points on a piece of paper, and each one has an A. Number 1 is at grabbing attention. Number 2, win your audience. And 3 is what is your ask. We never script it fully out, because if you do, you're going to sound robotic. It wants to sound spontaneous, conversational. And if you memorize it, you're not going to pick up on cues from the investors.
And remember, you're not the first rodeo for most of these investors. They've heard tons of pitches. And let's be real about it. They get bored. It's like teachers grading papers and reading the same thing over and over again. You have to be unique and create a relationship. They don't want to hear the textbook MBA version. They want to hear the human version.
They also do not want laundry lists. One of our startups recently talked herself out of getting money because, along with the simple product that she had created, she talked about how she was going to have a podcast, a TV show, news articles, and about 10 other things. What does an investor think? This is impossible.
No, they think you're delusional. I think
because you're diluting what you're going to do.
Right.
And they're wondering what's going to be the return on their investment.
You have to have common sense and realistic, very realistic goals. If there's one thing investors can sniff out, it's stuff that's not going to fly, not going to work, or pie in the sky ideas.
The question that we always hear investors ask entrepreneurs is, what is your social proof? Do you have a following? What have you done to create that contact list?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people look like they are deer in the headlights and say nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That's pre-work that is critical.
And Christopher, you had a question, and I believe I could read half of it. Is subject relevant? Is that what it was?
Is subject relevant humor appropriate in start with personal connection opening?
Always.
Always. Humor, we stress this all the time. Humor across the world tears down walls. And everybody, when you meet them, puts a wall up. I don't care what it is, who it is. Everybody puts a wall up. It's normal. It's human nature. Humor shows that we're on the same level. If you tell a good joke, like all my great dad jokes, then people will laugh and you'll be able to calm everyone's nerve. Because laughter also acts as a stress reducer.
It helps people drop their barriers, because if someone's willing to risk judgment with a dad joke, then someone else who maybe doesn't do public speaking very often will give it a try, which is our cue up for one of you to try giving us your pitch for feedback.
I have one quick question first, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
If you're presenting, while you're presenting, right, you've got your 3 bullet points, maybe you got a card, maybe you're going through that list. Are you looking for verbal cues, facial expressions to see, yep, this investor cares, before moving to number 2? And should you take much note of it, or just kind of be aware of the time you have and just move on, even if they look dead tired, uninterested?
If they look dead tired, get to number 2 faster.
Okay.
Or try a joke. We will often see investors check out not in number 1, but in number 2 when people are saying too much. It's always better to leave investors wanting more.
And don't, and while feedback is great, I mean, who doesn't want in an audience a head nods, people are great. Sometimes you get people that look like they sucked on lemon, right? And they do. And then after the presentation, we've had this happen to us where we walked out and thought, oh gosh, we have bombed this. Rebecca and I, we have bombed this. And then people talk to us afterwards, they're like, we loved it. And we're like, whoa, where's the disconnect here?
Some investors take power
Yeah,
in having a poker face.
right.
They've been known to do that. But
Don't lose your enthusiasm because people look angry.
yes, but the case for not having a script or a PowerPoint is to be able to have that intel as you're going. If somebody's nodding along or laughing, then you might want to expand that section a little bit.
Yeah, go further down that route. If you got them laughing or nodding their head, I call it the amen corner, and you want more amen. You want to keep going down that path. But if you don't have that, don't freak out and cut short and freak out. Keep on with the message, keep positive. It's like you're on a Vegas show. Sometimes you got great audiences, some nights you got yells, but you still have to sing the thing.
But when you fall down or when you mess up or ramble, never apologize. Say, oh, I said too much on that, because you never want to draw attention to what you want people to not remember. Keep on moving. And we were learning recently that some of the top comedians in the country will go around to all the little markets and try out jokes in comedy clubs for an entire year to figure out which ones fly and which ones bomb before they go out there and do it.
Good. And any other questions? We're on the Q&A right now, aren't we?
We are, but let's have somebody give it a go.
Absolutely. Who wants to do a pitch? Who wants to give a short pitch?
Christopher.
I mean, if I'm gonna take the time, let me stumble with y'all. Y'all won't tomato me or anything, you know?
No, we might taser.
Hey, Christopher, real quick. Why was the tomato blushing?
I give kid jokes all the time as inspiration, so you're gonna be hard to beat that one, even as a dad. So, because it's all the salad dressing.
Good job, man. Good job.
Yeah.
I love it. I had to do it.
Oh, that's great. I mean, that's the way to go. Yeah. So do I just start? What do I do?
You're on.
You're on. You're live.
Okay.
World.
Now you got to realize this is a radical difference from what I'm used to doing. No PowerPoint. I'm just like a 1 minute pitch, but in a totally different elevator pitch, 1 minute format. So here we go. You know what I really love about this meeting is everybody's so casual. Y'all are in the kitchen and JD's at his little office with his promo, and it's so informal. It's so comfortable. And, you know, in this comfort, we got to realize, though, that we have some serious pressing issues. Elon Musk risked his entire PayPal fortune to try to create sustainable, clean energy to save us from the impending carbon issue. And the problem with is so severe that he's even got a backup plan of trying to get to Mars and populate it. Mm-hmm. So while we're enjoying ourselves around us, there's potential catastrophe, and that's what our 50 plus major patents and pending are addressing to help do what nobody else does. As good as Elon Musk is with Tesla cars and Tesla energy, we're actually better in a lot of ways because of our patent pending wind hybrid solar panels, and our house in scale is carbon negative, which Tesla can't do. They're preventing more, but they're not able to reverse. So my hope is that with this, we've got a profit margin that exceeds industry standards, and our customer survey is 100 out of 100 people, no brainer, choose us.
That.
Excellent. What's your ask?
Currently asking for $1 million that's backed by my own personal real estate assets at less than 50% loan to value, and you get a minimum ROI on the real estate as well as a 4x stock in 3 years.
Man, you nailed this. For going first, you did an excellent job. First of all, you grabbed our attention at the beginning, talking about how people were relaxed. You brought us all together as investors. Then you started to talk about the product and what it can do, and you used examples, which I love with Musk. and I know it's 1 minute, just a little bit more about how the product works and everything, like what it really solves. You talked about the carb, but is it going to lower my home prices? I mean, my home energy costs, I'm assuming, and things like that. That's what I would want to hear more about.
Maybe 1 or 2 sentences there. And then to get super picky on some of the word choices, there were a couple times when you said it actually does this. You don't want us to ever say actually, because then imagine we said, I actually like your shirt. I'm surprised I like your shirt.
Okay. Right. And we hear that all the time.
Or when you said, my hope is, you want to talk to investors as if there is no doubt. Nothing could go wrong. And if you say, I'm going to try to, or my hope is, and this is us being super picky, which is why we're here. You want to not open up anything for question. It doesn't have to be there.
You never want to leave with a hope. You want to act like you would be really ridiculous not to fund this. I mean, there has to be something wrong with you not to give me some money.
Now,
that's how you want to think. Don't say that, but that's how you want to think when you're talking.
Even though Keith and I are anti-PowerPoint, show and tell is another story. If you have something that you can show, something physical, where people can get it, that would be worthwhile.
Well, this is actually very good input, because just intuitively assimilating what you're saying, I can see also that it wouldn't be redundant, but it'd be reinforcement if I were to have the communication skills you're sharing and then have that in the PowerPoint. So with or without a PowerPoint, it would still be good to have what you're sharing. And
Absolutely.
What I did was I just failed because I'm used to having a crutch of a PowerPoint with pictures that make up for my lack of words.
You did not fail.
You did not.
You did amazing.
To go first like that is tough, and you took everything we talked about and put it into 1 minute.
And you held our attention.
Except I missed the joke. I didn't get a joke today. I couldn't make up one because I think I'm going to discipline myself to stay subject relevant with the joke. I'm just not going to do something off the wall. I want to get something that would be in it that would lighten it up. So yeah.
Yeah, I think you did great. I mean, I'm not an expert at all, but I think, as I think Keith mentioned, I was like, well, how are you going to do that? Yeah, tell me a little bit about that technology. Give me a little bit more than how you're going to go negative. I'm like, wow, I've never heard of that. Give me a couple razzle dazzle technology words that I won't understand, but makes me believe that you know. That's kind of what I thought was missing.
And show for the homeowner, because I'm assuming this reduces the costs of your energy or does something. I mean, show how this is going to make it, not only it's going to reduce the carbon, but it's also going to reduce possibly your energy bill.
What's the return on their investment? Because that will then make investors more likely to put money into it. Great job.
Well, that's very good input, because I was missing that, because we're pitching investors, but investors would like to know how we get 100 out of 100 people no-brainer choosing us by throwing out 1 or 2, and then reasons, and then they would go, oh yeah, I can see why they would. That's very good. Thank you.
You want it also, this for anybody, whatever you're explaining, you want that investor, let's say they have a barbecue that night, go to the barbecue and be able to tell their neighbors what they heard today. And that's simple. They go, hey, I heard from this guy, Christopher, and man, he's got this thing that does blah, blah, blah. That's how things spread.
The only other thing, if you have more minutes, let's say you have 5 minutes, along with explaining the product in a little more depth, what inspired you to do it? Was there that one defining moment? Did something happen where you woke up and said, I need to do this? Anything about your background there would be good, because we know that you have the real estate subparts, which was a big thing, because that shows that you have the money to back what you're doing.
I like that, because I could see that as a very good segue from the personal connection, a joke, my personal journey connecting, then the problem at hand.
Yes.
Yeah, that personal journey is very important. People want to know why is this guy doing this? Like, why is he doing?
I need to know your heart's in it.
Exactly.
There's a lot of coaching going on now where investors, which, Bob, are you an inventor or are you an investor? Well, anyways, he sounds more like a curious investor to see if something's going on in here or not. But anyways,
you never know. I have no idea.
But anyways, I've been watching a lot of, YouTubes, and they're saying that investors are like, if you're in this thing just to make a hockey stick ROI and bail and go to the next project, we're not interested in it because those tend to fail. We want to have somebody who's got their heart in it, wants to found a real company.
Christopher, you spoke the truth. We have a couple of clients that are into working the marketplace and everything for investors, and they're only interested in working with family businesses that want to give back not only to the planet but give back to other people. So they're very
on the side. I don't know how to connect with you, but since this is such a small group, get in touch with me because you'll have referral fees like crazy if you help me.
Absolutely. Well, JD, we'll challenge you to
There
write
you go.
an introduction between us all.
Okay, that's a lot of pressure. That's like, okay, 50 million people. Okay, so Chris, I'll give you my email.
Thank you.
That is a lot. That's a lot of pressure going on. But
And Christopher, we don't have access to the chat box, but it looks
Unfortunately.
like if you send it to JD, he'll send it on to us and we'll be in touch with you.
Okay, good.
perfect.
Thank you. Bob and Michael, would either of you like to give your pitch if you're in a place where you can do so?
I'm now going to have to leave, unfortunately. This is Bob, and I'll answer your question a moment ago. I'm a entrepreneur, and I started several companies. I'm also an inventor, so that's my background. I'm not just a pure investor. But
Gotcha.
unfortunately, I started late, and I'm going to have to leave early. I had some time commitments today, so anyway, I got in some of it. So
We're glad.
bye.
Good spend
Thank
with
you
us.
for joining
Thanks
us.
for joining, Bob.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Bob.
And Michael, I don't know if you've yet loaded up and are on the wonderful highway to Salt Lake City.
Hi,
Hi, Michael.
Michael, I think we are in a dead spot. A cell dead spot. We will wait till you.
something when I want to use this product and make it known.
Michael, unfortunately, while we love to listen, it's breaking up and we can't understand.
But we challenge you to record yourself giving a pitch, send it to us, and we'd be happy to give you some feedback.
Okay, I can do that.
Yes, and do that because I think it's going to break up wherever you're driving. But if you do that, we'd love to give you some feedback.
Only if you make us one promise, Michael. Do not
What's that?
want the recording, because Keith and I, when we're working with our clients, we never have them record themselves and watch it back, because what that will do is it will kill the energy of your presentation, because you could be in your home with the best possible lighting and the best audio, nothing goes wrong. And when you give the actual presentation, you're constantly thinking back to how you looked and sounded in the recording. And when you send us your recording, Michael, it's solely for us to give feedback and delete it after, so you don't have the temptation to watch
Okay. Am I still a bit choppy in the audio?
Big time, unfortunately.
Okay, I will try and ask you my question again.
it. Okay,
I'm not trying to start my own company, so how would I pitch things to companies to have them want to agree to a license of my pen?
the same exact style, but you'll tweak the ask.
Okay,
We keep these things very simple. There are lots of people who will come to us and say, well, what if it's a this? What if it's a that? What do I do? We treat everything with that same simple style and let the story do the selling.
Because you're still looking for someone to invest, whether that's cash, or they want to purchase the item or the license. You're still getting someone to purchase something, to take something you've created and obtain it for themselves. It's the same rhythm, the same process. All right.
Other questions?
Other questions from the audience?
They did just got a couple thank yous for the responses to the earlier question, but no new questions from the online community.
And for some of you who might be wondering, are Keith and I sitting on these stools all day long? What is it exactly that we do? during COVID, this was our pivot because prior to COVID, we were traveling all around the country, giving presentations and coaching people. And when COVID hit, we thought that's it. And we made the mistake of not recognizing at first, we can still do this. We have to pivot a little bit.
And we pivoted obviously to Zoom and video, which has been wonderful. But what we do and what we've worked with people for 9 years is helping them with their pitch through public speaking, through communication. As Rebecca said, how to simplify language, reduce the clutter in what you're saying, not be a doormat in how you speak to yourself through your self-talk. And also, how do you showcase your body language, your tone, that people want to connect and build a relationship with you. And we work with individuals every day, and we work with Fortune 500 corporations and everybody in between.
National associations, we just got back from training the chapter executives of each state association from the Sheet Metal Association.
So we work with people, and the thing is, kind of like funeral homes, everybody needs public speaking training and help. 73% of Americans have a fear of public speaking. It's a huge fear, and strong communication skills, whether that's public speaking, emails, video, social media, how to create a stronger LinkedIn page, you name it. All these things boil down to what you're communicating.
Because we define public speaking as a little bit different than people who think of it as you have to be on stage at a podium. Anytime that other people can see or hear you, you are public speaking. Your social media posts are public speaking. This is all public speaking that everyone's doing back and forth.
When you walk out of your house and neighbors are watching you, if you have those kind of neighbors like we do, you are speaking in public. As I go get the trash cans later this afternoon, I'm speaking in public for anyone looking out the window.
Is that a not so subtle reminder that you've remembered it's trash day?
Exactly. That's what you learn to do when you work together, not stop.
And yes, we do work together 24/7. Keith and I always do our trainings together, even when it's a private session. We find that it helps people's barriers to fall. It becomes less of a one person versus another. We're all in it together.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's so great
Thank
to have
you.
you both. And Michael, I'm not sure if you can hear us, but Christopher as well, thank you for joining. And thank you for all those that are tuning in on our social platforms on live. I will, they're calling you the powered couple team. That's what Christopher said. You
But
guys-
we thank everybody out there in
Yes.
the world.
All right. Well, without further ado, we'll wrap up. You guys can stay on. We'll chat briefly after we go off of live, and we'll do that. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.